South Korea's Big Snap election saw record numbers in early voting Thursday. The vote is a critical one for the U.S. ally. Voters will decide who leads the deeply polarized country after conservative Yoon Suk-yeol was removed from power. He was ousted after putting the country under martial law for 6 hours, leading to months of political chaos and massive protests. Now, liberal Lee Jae-myung is the projected frontrunner to succeed Yoon. Lee narrowly lost to Yoon in 2022. He cast his ballot in Seoul on Thursday. If he wins, it could mark a major shift in South Korea on key policies. Whereas Yoon had gone all in on supporting Washington, taking a hard line on North Korea, and repairing ties with Japan, Lee has traditionally been more skeptical of the U.S. alliance. He has also vowed to engage with North Korea and was harshly critical of Yoon's reconciliation with Japan. However, in an effort to win moderates, Lee has recently spoken more favorably of the U.S. alliance and has said he would continue trilateral cooperation with Japan and the U.S. That is seen in Washington as essential to countering China and North Korea. Some in the U.S. wonder if Lee's pivot on a range of issues will last, and if his views might clash with U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump has slapped South Korea with tariffs and pressed it to pay more for the tens of thousands of U.S. troops stationed there. The last published Gallup Korea poll put Lee at 49% of public support, followed by Kim Moon-soo of the Conservative People Power Party with 35%, and the New Reform Party's Lee Jae-myung at 11%. Political experts have been critical of a hurried race they say has sidelined critical national debates. Until this week, most major candidates only released summaries of their pledges. Lee only put out his full policy booklet a day before early voting began. Here's the head of the Korean Association for Policy Studies, Park Hyung-jun, during a recent expert debate.
Voters should be able to assess how a pledge affects them personally and make choices accordingly. Something like, this candidate's policy will impact me in this way, so I'll vote for them. But we saw very little of that.
Reuters heard similar sentiments speaking to people on the streets of Seoul this week.
Personally, I'm placing more emphasis on changing the administration in this election. Still, I do wish they would present their pledges in a more detailed way.
Those criticisms do not appear to be keeping South Koreans from the ballot box, however. By 6 p.m. on Thursday, about 8.7 million people, nearly a fifth of total eligible voters, showed up to cast their votes, according to National Election Commission data. That is the highest turnout for this stage of a presidential poll, and several points higher than the vote in 2022. Voting next Tuesday on Election Day will run from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. An indication of the results is likely to start emerging that evening or early the next day.